Oh, oh man. Oh, oh, what is happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. Oh, Dan James. Oh, how did he miss? Oh, God. I'm trying to intro this. I can't believe Dan James missed. Oh, man. Those are the moments, man. Those are the moments that's why we have the talent up top that we have. For when games are like this, you've got those moments and they can take those chances. I should have scored. Oh man, listen, I'm all over the gaff. Welcome back to the channel, people. Match reaction time. Leeds United won, Coventry won, a building society derby. I can't believe we haven't won this game. Really and truly. Oh gosh. There's a few things to discuss today. And listen, we've got time today. We'll talk about them, but I mean, Ipswich drew early against Norwich. The chance was there to cut the gap before we play him next week, and we haven't capitalized today. We haven't capitalized today. Um, yeah. Are you talking about the miss? The thing is, Dan James' miss isn't the only one, but at that crucial time, just to get out of there with the 3 points, it was vital. But there were so many before him. But hey, good God. Mr. Anthrope, Rutter may be nice on the eye, but he's costing us points with his wasteful. I think you mean wasteful finishing. We're going to talk about Georginio today. You see the good and bad, but we're also going to have to talk about Daniel Farke as well. And I want to make it clear as well. We're talking about this week because what I'm seeing in the comments now, we weren't seeing before this week. So we're going to keep it to this week. Before that, we had something like 6 wins in 7 or whatever it was. But this week has been a problem. This week has been a problem. Gil here, we never capitalize on other teams' results. I know, man, it's so frustrating, and looking at the Ipswich game as well, and that's one difference I wanted to say. And let me just get out here because I think I'll forget later on. Is Ipswich, even though they drew today with Norwich, they look so much fresher, zippier. The movement was more crisp than we do. We look laborious at times. Whether people want to, if you agree, disagree, let me know. But we look labored at times when we're playing, and we shouldn't look like that. But when you have the same lineup every game, it's probably going to happen. Kevin here saying Farke is stubborn. He definitely is, and I want to speak about some of the things that Farke said up to this point, and just point out how some of it sounds like he's in charge, but he also sounds like a football fan at the same time as well. Lord Sheargraph, that was painful stuff. Usual called tactical mess ups. I know. Nate can't seem to understand how Perot playing 5 yards behind the 18 yards mark is effective. Farke making me question things, big time. Yeah, and that's something I was gonna touch on as well. I know it's a boring subject, and the manager's made his stance clear, but we can talk about it as fans, and that's what we're here to do. But Rutter today, listen, Georginio is a wonderful footballer, absolutely wonderful. You saw his creativity for the goal for Summerville. Lovely finish by Summerville again, by the way, 10th for the season. But Georginio is a creator. He's not a striker. And I liken it to if we were just to stick Archie Gray up front and Archie Gray was missing all these chances just because he's Archie Gray. You can't really go at him. You can't say, Archie, please put one of these away. He's not a striker. And neither is Georginio. No matter what people say, he is not a striker. He hasn't got that killer instinct. And that's why I gave him so much praise when he took that one away. He stayed on his feet the other week. Can't even remember who he scored against, but he stayed on his feet and tucked it away. But otherwise, you see what he did today. He Jorginho had about did he have like maybe 8, 9 of our big chances today, and he missed them all. But that's not on him. That's on the positional play. And if you're talking about Perot being in that position and missing all those chances, then we can have a conversation. We can definitely talk and say, "Oh, Perot, that is just not good enough." But I've said from the start, and I stick to my guns. I don't see Jorginho being a player that scores 20 a season. He's not going to be that player. Will he create or get maybe 20 assists? Most definitely. But as a striker, no chance. And we saw that again today. Just chance after chance. Ones he couldn't quite get to, ones he was putting wide. He's not a striker, people. He's a forward, creative forward, and one of the best. He's got one of the best creations in the big chance creations in the league, if not the best. Use him at his strength. And Yeah. God, let's have a look. What's people saying? What's people saying? Yeah, Oaksy. Yeah, we're going to be here again. Whether a journal brings it up again after the 30-minute explanation Farke gave, was it a month or 2 months ago now? I don't know if they're going to bring this up again. I just don't think they're going to after Farke gave it so much attention. You've already seen once he gives a detailed answer, they don't usually go back to it, as usually maybe that's like a full stop to it. But I do think it's a conversation worth revisiting. Um, yeah, Mike, with disappointing result, we should be winning these 100%. I'm sorry, and listen to any commentary fans that may tune in. It's no disrespect to your team, but when we're at home, we're unbeaten. We're still unbeaten there. We should be winning this game. Absolutely, should be winning this game. Um, marching on podcast, we have a front line worth more than the combined value of any other team in the league except the Fox and Saints. 21 shots, 1 goal today. Farke is a fraud, shows in his pressers and on the pitch. And again, I want to speak about some of the things he does say in his pressers, because at the end of the day, no one's forcing him to say the things he does say. So when he does say them, you can scrutinize him here and there. Um, yeah, John, I know. Honestly, when I pressed the live button, John, I still couldn't believe you missed. John here just saying Dan James should have put that in the back of the net in the 95th minute. I think it was close to 96. That was a criminal miss. It was horrible, horrible, man. T85, everybody has figured Fark it out. Doesn't rotate. Let's get into it, right? Um, the lineup. I said in the preview as well, if you tuned into the preview, thank you for that. But I said to you, don't expect any changes. And I think even the change that people thought we could make, in that it would be Nanto for Dan James, don't expect it. Farke pretty much said, I'm not rotating unless it's necessary. And we saw that again today. The exact same lineup, no frills. And then we have to even go into the second half. We were still labored, pedestrian the first half. That was a terrible half. Still no changes at half time. Common theme. Now, instead of the 69th to 70 minute today, it was back to like the 78th minute where we got our subs. It's just not proactive enough. And the games where he's got away with it and we've come out and won, they've been overshadowed now by games where we're not getting the wins in them, and these are crucial in order to keep up with the top two. Like I say, Ipswich dropped points today. Perfect opportunity for us to get 3 points, go into that big game next week and put even more pressure on them. Now it's as you were. And I think Southampton have crushed somebody today. We'll have a look at that result in a bit. But the lineup, and this go back to something that Farke said before, and this is what I wanted to get to. Hold on. So Farke has said before that it's going does he expect anyone to leave in January? The players that aren't playing. He's talking about Creswell, Gelhart, and all these guys. And he said many times they will be staying because we need a squad. 11 people just can't get you promoted. Well, he's not utilizing the squad. Even someone like Ampadu, who was asked about in the press conference as well, Ampadu's performances, they're still stellar, but they're not as crisp as they were at the start of the season. And we've got a £5 million player there in Gruev, who is, I mean, he cost a championship team 5 million, and we haven't seen him properly since Stoke City, unless we're winning a game and he comes on for like make a wish minutes at the end of the game. And you just wonder, is he talks a bit like a football fan where he wants his cake and eat it. I hate that saying, but you know what I'm saying there when I say that saying. He's trying to say that nobody's going to go in January, which I don't believe, but then he's not giving anybody else an opportunity to play, even though these players quite clearly this week needed a rest and maybe just a sprinkle of rotation. And against Coventry at home, again, sorry to not disrespect the opposition like that, but we could have rotated a bit. Now we cannot really rotate against Ipswich next week. We need our strongest lineup, and this is it. And we will have around a week's rest, so get them rejuvenated. But this was the game where we should have made some changes today, really and truly. Um, and also and with Farke as well, in terms of the whole things that he does say, in needing a squad, that's going to be no good. You got to think about it as a fringe player, whether you're Charlie Creswell, whether you're Joe Gelhart, who hasn't really got a leg to stand on really in terms of playing time, but maybe like a Willie Nanto, where you're thinking, okay, I'm being patient, but it's quite clear we could probably do with some rotation here, and I'm not even getting game time now. So what makes you think you can just keep me in January if I want to go? I think Farke he talks a little bit like a passionate fan at times, because that's just not the way football works these days. It just doesn't. If a player's not playing and they want to get game time, they will leave the club. They will. Kevin, KG talks waffle to the media. Listen, it's been a tough month or so with the press conferences. I'm not going to lie. Questions haven't been good, but his answers also not been the best. But he's also got to be careful of not, saying one thing and meaning another. It's just like when he talks about the old guard being this and that, but then he plays them last resort. He has to be careful with what he says, because people will pick up on it and question him. He also said at the start of the season he doesn't like to give out his first 11. I'm not giving out my first 11. And I like that. We had that under Bielsa. Fine novelty at first, got annoying towards the end. But people know his first 11. Anybody and everyone could have predicted this lineup on the screen. Everybody. John here. Ampadu made a couple of silly mistakes today, giving the ball away. I mean, yeah, look, he's going to have bad errors in games at times, John, but they've been very noticeable over the last, I would say, maybe 4 games. And at the start of the season, this guy was imperious. He was unbelievable. But that's going to happen if you're just playing constantly on a 46-game season. Plus, he plays his international games too. Michael, I can tell you the team next week, KG. Sorry, Farke out. Wow. We'll get into that in just a moment. I'm just going on some of the things that he says and the contradictories that are there, and just don't add up in the football world. I'm sorry, they just don't. Darren here saying, I hate Archie at right back. Please put Jed at right back. And somebody mentioned their goal, and yeah, I mean Archie was the main man in the middle. Why was he left alone for a header? Archie's not a right back to begin with anyway. So I don't know what Pascal was doing. He made a late jump and Melier was stuck on his goal line. I'm not sure what was going on there. It's just a poor goal to concede. Those are the kind of goals that we don't get. You see what we have to do. We have to carve people open. The first half, Coventry played with like 10 men behind the ball, but we have to carve people open in order to get a goal. Their goal was just a simple cross, head it in, see you later. It's just so easy. But yeah, Tintin here. Only time he'll change if people are injured or suspended. Yeah, I think you have to go by with what you've seen so far, and that is what has happened. And we always knew that. We always heard from Norwich fans that Danny Farke's got a stubborn streak. You remember what I said when we first got appointed? I hope he's learned from his time at Norwich and that he has to do things a little differently. Well, if he's doing this in this league, I would hate to see what he might do in the Prem. And that's always been in the back of my head. I still think he is the guy to get us out of this league. But Premier League, hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. He has bumped. Archie's been getting cooked lately. Yeah, it's not his fault though. This is what I'm saying. This is where you can't really go at the players if they're not playing in their natural positions. And Archie himself has had a little bit of a rest after international periods. He could do with rotating maybe with Ampadu or Kamara. I thought Kamara was pretty decent today actually, but there's nothing wrong with just a tiny bit of rotation, just a little bit. J Dog, yeah. Hold on a minute. Yeah, Bob's. Let me just get that one. J Dog here. Farke relies on playing moments, not coaching. It's a fair point, really and truly is. Bob's here. Our tactics seem to be give it to Summerville and hope he scores a assist. Yeah, it's that thing, isn't it? Like Rafinha, when Rafinha is here, Raf, please give us some magic. Otherwise, we're cooked in this division. And it seems to be that way right now. Him and Rutter, we will speak about Rutter in just a moment. Lee here with a super chat. Thank you so much, Lee. Kamara quality for me today. Yep. But what are we doing? Terrible result. Needed to win this one. Finishing the game with Bamford and Gilhart. Back to 2020. Yeah, Lee, listen. That's why when I give my transfer ratings, for the windows, some people think I'm harsh, but I rate them for a reason, because we're not doing what we're supposed to in terms of getting certain players out and getting other players in. It's as simple as that. But yeah, it is a bad look, really and truly. Um, let's have a look. Gail here saying Nanto and Gruev should get more game time. It is it though. When you think of Gruev and his start against Stoke, it was a shocking one. And I just go back to Yelder starting at left back against, was it Cardiff we started the season against? Forgive me, you know, that game at the start of the season where both him and Ayling were horrendous. And that was one time we did see a halftime substitute because Yelder was that bad. And forgive me if I'm wrong. Maybe we've seen Yelder maybe once, maybe twice at most since, but he doesn't trust Yelder. And I just wonder if after that shown by Groove at Stoke, it would be harsh after one game. But does he trust him enough to put him in place of an Ampadu? Does he trust him enough to rest Ampadu to bring in Gruev? The evidence says no to me anyway. That's what the evidence says to me. Mr. P here. What was that? Who with the whole team? I know. I hear you. Pete here saying all Bamford did was get into a fight in extra time, result critical, time wasted. Yeah, listen, that thing, you know, I've already given my thoughts on Bamford. You know, I don't need to repeat it. But also Melier as well going, you know, face to face with Sims after the goal's gone in. Much like with Joby Bellingham, where he's hugging him instead of trying to get the ball first. Your attention's on the wrong thing. Focus on the ball. I don't know what's going on there, but I've said it before. I think Melier is good enough to help us get out of this league, but I've made very clear he's not a Premier League goalkeeper for me. But should we look for another goalkeeper? I don't know. I don't know. It's just I just know that I don't fully believe in Melier anymore. And people that are long term subscribers mine know I used to love this guy, but he's regressed so badly. He's a middling championship goalkeeper. The eye test and, if you like, data and analytics, they tell you that too. Hans Norman here saying Perot as a 9 or as a sub, he's just not involved. Yeah, and listen, he got by-pressed, didn't he, a few times in midfield, Perot. But again, I don't blame him for this. I really don't. Even if you're saying that Joel Perot is a 10, let's just say he's a 10 at best. He shouldn't be anywhere near the center circle. I'm sorry, he shouldn't be. He's a shooter. Let him shoot. But I see Joel Perot more times than not around the center circle than I do in the box. You know what I mean? So I can't put it on him. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. I know a lot of you are a bit getting frustrated with Joel Perot, but even look at the performances he's put in so far, and his goal return is still pretty decent, even though he's being kind of held back for me. I believe that anyway. Um Tim Egan saying Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton hitting threes and fours in games. Our goals are drying up, but Farke knows best. Yeah, and Tim, I wanna say that as well because you, like me, we're fans here. That's what we are. But I just don't get comments where people say it's easy for football managers in the stands or at home to talk. That's what these things are, people. We're fans talking. You know, we don't claim to be football managers, but we're here to give opinions. And but why else are you here if you don't want to hear other people's opinion? It's very odd to me how people just think you should just accept what the manager says and does, and just go about your day. Football will be boring like that. Um, Adsa saying we need a shake up in the lineup. Uh, Mohammed here. Fair. Okay, Mohammed. Is he a shooter, Cage? You haven't seen one good shot going so far, at least not in the last few weeks. I do hear that, Mohammed. But when he's getting played near like a deep 6 or 8 at times, I can't put it on him. Now, if he again, I'll repeat again, if he's missing all the chances that Georginio missed today, then there's a conversation to be had. But he's not getting all those opportunities. He's not getting all of them. Annie Paul here saying, agree with you, KG. Pip. Oh, play the best striker. I'm just gonna edit that. I think it's play the best striker in the league in midfield. It's a joke, yeah. Darren here saying, I lost confidence in Melier too. He is weak. He is definitely weak. Should have just come out and jumped to catch the ball. Even if let's say he doesn't come out to catch the ball, Darren, but he was getting a lot of praise for his save that didn't quite go in the corner against Sunderland, didn't he? He was getting a lot of praise for that, but this ball here didn't really go straight in the corner. So why couldn't he get to that one as well? You know what I mean? I know every shot's different before everyone comes at me, but that's what I'm saying. There's just better out there, isn't there? You know. No Ma saying, let's be honest, everyone knew we needed to change this game. He made no changes and wait till the 70th plus minute to make a change. It's criminal. Yeah. Oh man. Oh God. I'm just really disappointed today, people. I just no matter what the performance was today, we had to get 3 points in this one against Coventry City. Really and truly, we had to get 3 points today, and we've messed it up. 1 point in 2 games this week. That's terrible. This is terrible. We're not one of the lower league teams here. We're Leeds United. You know what I mean? And I know that sounds arrogant as hell, but we have to be arrogant because we are that club. You know what I mean? And we should be doing better. Really and truly should be doing better. Uh I can see the super chats, people. Don't worry, they are starred and waiting. Just hold on a minute here. Lord Sheargraph here saying go 3-5-2 until we have fully fit fullbacks. The squad are pegs. Okay, the square pegs. I think, are you saying the square pegs in round hole methods need to stop? I've got you. And Mark here saying if he persists with the same team all over Christmas, we'll be in burnout mode by January. Great point, Mark. Yeah. This week alone, Mark, if you want to talk about energy levels, we've looked off it. And like I say, I saw Ipswich earlier. They had made, for people that don't know, they had made, I think, around 5 or 6 changes in midweek, and they look fresher. They just look fresher. They were moving the ball quicker. Their movement was much more fluid than as has looked this week. Maybe fatigue is in there. Slow steady C saying draw was fair in my opinion. Yeah, no, Steve, I'm not saying that we deserve to win today. It's just that we should be winning these games. But yeah, we don't deserve to win if we don't win. That's fair. SJ44, SJ saying Farke is it a roadblock? He needs to earn his wages now. I mean, yeah. Oh man. No problem. No, no problem. Um Max H saying here the sharpness has gone. Players taking too many touches. Trusting the squad, Daniel. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think he does. That's why I think January is going to be pretty interesting because I didn't think there was much to do, but I'm wondering if Daniel Farke thinks there is much to do. I don't know if he trusts everybody to play in this squad. I really and truly don't. So it's going to be interesting to see who does leave and who comes in. I anticipate a few changes because he does not trust every single squad player that he's got in the team. He doesn't, quite clearly. Mark here saying if Farke thinks Grove isn't good enough, why is he here? Yeah, could be one of those where he thought it'd be a good idea, then he's seen him in training, then seen him in the Stoke game, and thought, well, actually, maybe you're not, maybe you're not cut out for Championship football. Maybe you should be at a more technical level, maybe, and Championship isn't for you. But you would think that a £5 million asset would be seen a little bit more, but obviously not. Mr. P here. Thank you, Mr. P, saying we continue to talk about Ipswich dropping off. It seems, however, it's Leeds who are dropping off instead. All we have now is hope. Listen, it is. Look, there's still plenty of football to go, people, and of course there is January to get around and maneuver in and improve the team, which we do have the finance to, whereas Ipswich don't. So we do have some advantages here and there, but we can't keep letting points drop like this. We really can't. And it's like I said before, weeks ago, if we're not in the conversation for top two, then it's not just about players coming in. This is where the idealistic football fan comes in thinking that they can have everything and lose nothing. But if we're not in the conversation for top two mid-January, and then a better team in the Premier League come up for a Summerville or a Georginio or something like that, then it becomes a lot harder for Leeds to say, no, we're on a promotion track here. It's better to keep you now than get 20, 30 million for you now and then miss promotion. We've got to be in that conversation because if it's at Everton, Burnley, and all these teams, then yeah, I think we keep these players. But there's always that chance that somebody else could come in because they have been impressing, especially Summerville. So we need to keep up the pace in terms of points. It's important for us in order for recruitment coming in and not losing key players. Mr. P here saying we need pace in our play. Keeping the ball between road and strike does not draw teams out. Not any longer teams leave us to have it in that area. Yeah, that's where stats are deceiving, Mr. P. Let me just show you what I'm talking about here. This is where stats are deceiving because stats can think that you can get a bit of a picture, but it tells you more. Look, passes here 674 to their 384. You think we've bumped them off the park, but do you know how long How many passes are between Stroud, Roden, Melier, all between the back line as we're trying to break teams down? It's very misleading, and you're absolutely right. SJ here. I think the importance of Byram has shown itself in the last two games. Yeah, I knew we'd miss him. I knew we'd miss him. SJ. He's been brilliant. He's been brilliant for us this season overall, really and truly. And yeah, we've missed him on that left hand side. And just think, if we had him on the left, Spence more on his more comfortable right, we'd be in much better shape. But is what it is right now. Is what it is. John here, why don't we put Summerville on the right wing, Nonto on the left wing? Because it's going to be Summerville and Dan James, John. we can have all the ideal lineups and everything that we want, but we know what team's coming out, people. We know what team's coming out. Let's see. Let's have a look at other things that affect us. Like I said earlier, Norwich got a draw at Ipswich. No matter what that rivalry is, Ipswich just can't get over Norwich, and that's fair. Norwich did go ahead at one point, but Ipswich battled back. There's our 1-1 draw. Look at that. Southampton they beat the brakes off Blackburn. Yeah, bad. And then obviously Leicester don't play until Monday against Birmingham, but it just makes this so much harder. We're 10 points behind Ipswich, and we had the chance to close the gap today by another 2, beat them next week. Then that gets them even more nervous, and we haven't capitalized, people. By the way, I heard a song yesterday, and listen, even if 1 or 2 of you go and listen to it just because you're curious, I need someone else to have this song. Usually I like to spread love, but I want to spread this one. Vanilla, No Way, No Way. Somebody go and listen to that and listen to how bad it is. It's just so I can pass on the pain, because it's been in my head all day. Vanilla, No Way, No Way. Somebody go listen to it and share this pain. Lodi here. I know the players are responsible, but Farke is starting to cost us points too. Gray's not a right back and takes too long for subs. Yeah. Issues we've been talking about. But you can always get away with these issues when you're winning games, and we were doing that. But this week has really shone a light on our tactical inflexibility. Really and truly has. And Nate, I'm with you here, Nate. Nate, I'm 100% with you, and I think Liam Moore, my guy Liam Moore, left a comment as well about how we should be doing better, and I'm with you. And Nate, you know this. I've said we should be beating teams in this league, especially with this front line, 3, 4, 5 at times, and it just seems that we're just not going to do that at this point. And we're seeing other teams that aren't even as talented as us. I think Watford scored 4 goals today. We're not doing that. We should be bopping some teams like horrendous score lines with the talent that we have, but it's not happening. It really isn't happening, and that's what I'm saying. We should be getting at least 3 games in some of these games. I'm expecting us to give someone a 6-piece. I really truly am, with the attacking talent we have, but it's just not happening at this point in time. As Jermaine Beckford to start the next match. Have I missed something here? Let me just check something here. Yeah, David Dyer here earlier said, let me just say, Tom Lucky, collapsed again for Luton Town. He collapsed in the playoff final as well. He collapsed today against Bournemouth. Man, you got to, hopefully he's all good. I think the last report said that he was responsive, which is cool. But yeah, man, they might have to just have a look at how he goes. His long-term health is more important than his short-term football stuff. But yeah, shout out to Tom Luck here. Mr. Ripper saying Farke beginning to annoy, and this is what happens when you don't get the results that you expect to get. The manager starts to get on people's nerves. We saw this with Jesse Marsh, didn't we? When we was doing okay at the start, it's like, oh yeah, nice motivational speech. Then when it was going to part, it's like, oh, well, this guy just shut up. The results dictate how people feel about you. Results dictate everything. Mike here saying, just listen to Farke's post-match interview. My question is, how do you spell waffle? Let me see if there's any quotes come out, see if anyone's printed them out just yet. While I'm doing that, please hit a like on the video if you haven't. I know I haven't done housekeeping properly today, but Hey, listen, it's a tough game, tough day for this kind of result. So please do me a favor, do the channel a favor. Please like the video. It really does help out the channel a lot. Um, okay, all I've got so far is Mark Robbins. I'll see if someone else has put them in. Uh, would love to get these read on air now. No, it's just Mark Robbins that's been printed so far. So listen, we've got a bit of time today anyway. Don't worry about it. J Dog saying here, Farke talks too much worse than Marshford. Yeah, someone did say that about the press conference this week when he was asked a couple of questions that some of the answers went a little bit long. I do agree with that as well. Yeah, listen, best wishes, man. No one wants to see that. It's horrible, absolutely horrible seeing people collapse. There was even on a non-footballing one. There was a Brazilian singer that was on stage and collapsed. Now, people, before you start putting in all that like conspiracy stuff in the chat, please don't. YouTube's very harsh about that stuff. But yeah, it's just wild, man, seeing people, collapse like that when, they're in, seemingly good health. David here, who's been cooking Daniel Farke a little bit here. Let me just read something out from David here. KG, it's not just the results that's annoying. It's more the fact we don't look like scoring most of the game. Just too boring to watch. I hear that too, David. Yeah, I hear that 100%. Some of our first halves in particular have been laborious and that's being generous. To be fair, even today's alone, what a boring first half, people. Absolutely terrible. But yeah, I'm absolutely with you, David. We should be playing more exciting football, but being responsible at the back as well. I don't want to go back to that gung ho stuff again. My heart can't take it no more. um, yeah, Max. I don't really talk about refs, Max. But Summerville getting a booking after he got chopped down and walked away, kind of thing, and him getting a booking for dissent is mad. And also, he should have booked Dan James for that dive. That's horrendous, people. And whether you're a Leeds fan or not, yeah, that dive was horrendous by Dan James. Just stay on your feet, man. I would say you got a better chance of scoring, but after you missed that one, at the end of the game, maybe not. But yeah, that was horrendous from Dan James and certainly wasn't a penalty. Leicester City fan in the house. Georgie, what are you saying, Georgie, man? It's been a minute, but yes. Listen, you guys are cooking. What can I say? You guys rotated the other week and you rested all your big guns, but you brought in Pat Sandaka and all that. But yeah, we're just a little behind you, people. We're just a little behind you, and I'm sure you'll beat Birmingham City Monday. Ads here saying we should start Nanto against Ipswich. His pace would help. It would ads, but just going by Daniel Farke and his comments earlier this week. Let's go again by his comments. There was 4 days between the Sunderland game and this one today, which is more than enough time for players to recover. His words. Do you really see him taking out Dan James for Willie Nonto next week against Ipswich Town? I just don't see it. Don't see it, man. Just don't see it. I wish we would get a surprise like that, but I don't see him dropping Dan James next week against Ipswich Town if he's not going to do it at home to Coventry City. Look at Mark. Mark, I'm not going to put that up. She's good people though, man. Mark, she's good people. Torchman here, and people still think that Nonto will stay at Leeds in January under. I didn't realize you said clown Torchman, but yes, under this manager Farke, and that's what I was alluding to earlier. Just things like that, not just Charlie Creswell, not just Joe Gelhardt, but Willie Nonto, who, it wouldn't behoove Farke to give him a start here and there. If Nanto still has interest from elsewhere where his situation will be better, can anyone really begrudge him the chance of moving when he's not getting played in the championship? I know I'm not, but I've got a whole thing on Nanto that I want to speak about on a whole different video. But yeah, it's things like that. You're absolutely right, Torchman. Let's have a look. Yeah, Adsir saying that again. Adsir trying to get halftime says from Farke. It's a tough game. It's a tough game, Ads. It doesn't happen. Jackie is saying, I watch Ipswich versus Norwich. I fear for us next week. You know what? And one of their players after the game, oh man, one of the goal scorers, someone, let me get his name. Because, he was talking like we were just liquor man. Wes Burns, that's his name, Wes Burns. Hey, he was talking about Norwich just being another game and it was bigger for them. You know, Ipswich have got that swagger about them because they're getting the business done, so they can talk like that. But then, you know, the presenter turned their attention to Leeds next week and said, "Yeah, you know, Leeds next week, it'll just be another game for us." Hey, listen, we shouldn't be looked at like that. We shouldn't be looked at that. But that just shows you the confidence and how Ipswich are feeling about themselves, really and truly. You know, I don't know how we're feeling right now after the week we've had, but Danny Farke's job is to get these players up for this game because otherwise, you know, even getting 3 points against them, what does it cut the gap down to? 7 points? Yeah, it's long. It's long. Um, yeah, listen, a lot of Nanto love in here. Um, a lot of Nanto love. John Knox here saying there are other players we could drop or rest to bring in Nanto. It is criminal that we're not playing an Italian international while we have his talents. Yeah, I I, I do have my thoughts on Nanto and whether he will stay or go and what's probably the best thing. But like I say, that's for a whole different stream. Nanto is worth a stream all on his own, really and truly, from the start of his career at Leeds to where we are now. There's so much to talk about. Um, what are we saying? Yeah, winning streak was never gonna last. Okay, let me just see if I can get. Let me see if anyone's put the quotes, Farker's quotes up yet. Um, okay, yeah, okay, here we go. Got some now. While I'm doing that, while I'm getting these up, as you can probably see them now. Vanilla, no way, no way. I'm not listening to that song just by myself this week, people. Someone else listen to it and feel the pain. Uh, right. Uh, James here. What do you think about signing a real number 9? Scott Chegg is available. I don't know who Scott Chegg is. Have I just said a bait name there? I don't know who that is, James. 23 in Scotland. Yeah, I just feel like there's other areas we need to strengthen first. If we can move out Bamford, which would be lovely. I know people keep talking about who's going to take on his wages, but there can be a compromise there with Leeds, Bamford, and the future buying club. But I do feel like we need another striker. But I feel like maybe left back is probably more important. Centre back as well for if Strauch or Roden's out. A creative player possibly. I don't know. I feel we'll talk about those in transfer streams. Um, oh, Scotch. Oh, I got done. I got done. Oh no, that's embarrassing. Oh no, it is. Oh no, James, you son of a gun. You got me. You got me. Oh no, no, he's done me. I'm done. I didn't see it coming. I got robbed by a lady on a motorized cart and I didn't see it coming. Oh no. Shout out to you, James. You got me. You got me. I am going to I've got to proofread these in the future. No problem. No problem. Mark Jones saying vanilla like taking a cold bath in the dark. Yeah, listen, Mark, it was on the timeline yesterday, so people are gonna share my pain. Can't believe I did that. Yeah, at least it wasn't rude. Yeah, I appreciate that one, man. Yeah, listen. Oh, bloody hell. Scotch egg, you know. How did I not get that? Ah, all right. Let me read Daniel Farker's comments. Oh my lord. The shame, 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 shame. Right. Okay. Oh, brother. As if I got done by that. I feel embarrassed right now. I feel embarrassed. Not gonna lie. Oh boy. Okay, so Daniel Farker's reaction to the result. Here we go. Disappointment and frustration. When you win a point, you see the positive aspects, but after this game, it feels like 2 points dropped. When you judge the game, we should have won. We did more than enough. I want us to feel the disappointment. I don't want to talk about the positives. Coventry, they put everyone who could defend on their team sheet. They left their creative players out. It was clear that they would sit very deep. No, 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 no. Sorry, no. This is where I disagree. And what do I talk about a lot on this channel? People, accountability. Doesn't matter what the opposition do something different. Then, if you knew they were going to do what they were going to do, then why did you set up the same way? Why do we? The question needs to be flipped that way. If you knew Coventry were going to do this, then why didn't you do something different? Fair, isn't it? But this is when you start to get down a slippery road with managers where they start to blame everything else but look in the mirror. Um, but yeah, that's a terrible excuse in my opinion. I'd never accept that from managers, never. He continues, you have to be relentless until you open them. We did this with a fantastic goal. The problem is we didn't bury the game. Then a totally unnecessary loss of the ball, and we allowed a cross to come in. There was one cross we had to deal with the whole game. We weren't able. Um, and there's something else. Let me just see. Yeah, as a refreshed, Farke on Ipswich at home next weekend. Like each and every game, you have a chance to win 3 points, and we want to go for it. It would be a defining game if it was the 43rd of the season. It's not even half time in the season. I hear what he's saying about the not half time, but why does he keep talking about the 43rd game of the season? That's another thing he keeps on talking about. He keeps talking about this being too early to look at the table, too early to do this. Hey, by the 43rd game of the season, we could be 10th. What then? Seriously, I need him to stop saying this kind of stuff because it doesn't help anybody. Really and truly doesn't. You think that Ipswich are not looking at the table now going, 10-point cushion. Oh, but let's not get too excited because, we're not even halfway through the season. They're absolutely not. They're saying, you know what, we're 10 points clear. We're going to set the pace. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to frustrate Leeds next week, even try and get a result and move on even further from. That's what they're doing. Oh, man. What's everyone saying, people? Lewis here, does bro not understand that every point counts? I think he does get it. I think he's trying to downplay it so other people don't panic. But the problem is, if you're not stupid or an imbecile, you can read through things, you can see through things, and you know how important every point is in this league, especially with the top two being as relentless as they are. Every point counts. Cop out. Gil, man, what did the cop do to you today, man? Ryan here. I'm sorry, Gil. I'm only trying to make you feel better because I got done with the Scotch egg. If I gotta hold it, someone else has got to hold it too. Ryan here saying Farke is struggling right now. You can tell in his comments. Yeah, Ryan, the press conferences, the post match, even the comments after the Sunderland game were very we'll move on from this onto the next game. Well, now the next game's turned up and he didn't quite get the desired result he thought he's going to get. You get to hear stuff like Ipswich played with all 10 men behind the ball. Who cares? That's on you to break it down. Like Leicester have done in every game, because Leicester have not been bopping people from the first half onwards. They've had to wait until like the 70th minute to break some teams down. But then they do it. They get 1, they get 2, 3 points. Job done. And we're not doing that right now. Sorry, Gil, I had to take you with me, brother. I mean, it's still not as bad as mine, the Scotch egg. That's terrible, man. How did I do that, man? Pete here saying Farke needs to start taking accountability, timing of subs. Yeah, I'll be interested to see people this week if what kind of subjects come up. I have not been looking forward to the press conferences, but I'm looking forward to this one because I think that they do need to revisit a couple of topics like the Perot thing, and also talk about how leggy we've looked this week and where the changes. He's going to say, I know, I can already telepath what Farke's going to say. He's going to say, if I make changes and we win the game, people call me a genius. But if we don't win, then people question like you are today. So you cannot win. There you go. There's a little Farke impression, the terrible Farke impression I do for the people that like it. There you go. But I already know what he's going to do. He's very defensive in that way. Everyday history, the Scotch egg. Oh man, people, listen, before we get out of here, I can't believe we've gone nearly 45 minutes on this, man. I can't believe it. Does anybody have got anything else to say? I think that is it. I don't know if there's any more. Let me just refresh the page while I'm here. Oh, okay. There's a little bit more. Okay, hold on. Yeah, Farke refusing to talk about the referee's performance, says he's spoken about him in the past, but isn't going to today. Again, when you start, this is what happens. When you start putting it on the referee, there's 90 minutes in the game to win, people, more than 90 minutes. That doesn't wash with me. I'm sorry, Michael. I'm sorry. Yeah, Michael is he's probably the best. He's good at impressions anyway. He's good at impressions. I'm sure he does the Ken Bates one. He used to do that one. I'm sure that was him too. Yeah, he's good at that kind of stuff. Yep, Andy, frustrating, frustrating. Yep. Oh man, Farker is mid. Yeah. Oh, Max H giving me a little prop there. Peak Farker impression. I appreciate that. Darren here, result has nothing to do with the ref. Yep. And J Dog continues, ref wasn't a reason for dropping points. I highly agree. But listen, people, you know what? This stream, especially with me getting caught with the fake name, has been more entertaining than that game today. It's actually made me feel a bit better. So thank you guys for hanging with me in the chat. We're going to do more live streams going forward as we get closer to the transfer window. So, stick your notification bell on so you know when I go live, and you can join me, give your opinions on what we need, what you'd like to see. But we're gonna have to speak as well in interim before the Ipswich game, because there's a lot more to talk about as well. Please as well, people, before you go, the biggest favor, just hit the like on the video. It really does help me out. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Drop your comments below, and I'll see you in the next video, people. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your weekend if you can, and listen to Vanilla. No way, no way.